Today, we're going to take a little trip down memory lane. Why are we doing that? Well, we actually hit a big milestone in our firm, a big one. Not long ago, Matthew hit the 10-year mark at Acuity, a full freaking decade. Yep. And so I want to spend some time with Matthew talking about the big takeaways he's got over that time, like 10 years and like where we've fallen short from where you expected to be. Where are we beyond where you thought we might be? A lot of firm owners just really haven't been in this space probably as long as us old guys. So what are your observations that may be helpful to others while you look back? All of that here today on this little trip on Drink While You Think, the Happy Hour podcast, where us two fools talk about the weird ways we're building our firm. I'm your host, Kenji. There is my now tenured co-host, Matthew.
Yeah, the much younger, because you've been here
Yeah.
so much longer. So
Speaking
Matthew,
of much younger, you want to see something real quick?
yeah,
Us and all the whole crew. Just as we think about a trip down memory lane, Matthew, take a look at these two guys back in their first year. Okay, their very, very first year of working together. Here it is. Look at that. That's not it.
I can't see anything.
You see anything? That was a different pointer picture. All right, how about this one?
I'm gonna need to drink.
Okay, fine. You go drink. It's a picture of us from Falcons game in 2014.
Okay. Well,
Look it up. It was in November. It was a picture of when we looked a lot younger. We'll maybe post it, somewhere else. But
well, you need to be able to share your screen when you're doing recordings.
I guess I'm not worked in those. What are you drinking?
Oh, I'm drinking. It looks like an accountant named beer because it's just plain salted caramel porter. So this is from Anderson Valley Brewing Company. I've never had this one out of Boonville, California. So nice. It's a bourbon barrel aged one, and it's a 9.5%. So
oh boy, good heavy one for this.
We'll see.
I'm going the opposite direction here entirely. I'm drinking the garden beer. Look at that. Looks like it's healthy, right? This is from Wild Heaven. But the garden beer is their season 12, celebrating the Atlanta Botanical Gardens. We like the botanical.
That's a cool one.
It's and it is it is like a white, I think it's a white Belgian. It's got like cucumber and lemon, thyme, and sesame seeds or something. I don't know. That sounds kind of fancy to me. Anyway.
Well, you're pouring it in, so we can't see the beautiful color.
I know, but I wanted to drink out of my awesome
Acuity Yeti.
The Acuity Yeti. Cheers,
man.
Okay, this first part I want to be quick because I think people have heard probably about it before. But in case we have new listeners who haven't heard, let's get into the quick backstory on 10 years ago, how we got together. Well, we got to keep it kind of quick because we've told this before.
You mean Kenji had been friends for a bit. We had been friends for 3 or 4 years by this time, right?
Yeah.
And I was partner in Cherry Beckert, and Kenji had just bought out his previous partner. So he was 8 years into Acuity at the time, and he was going at it alone, which is crazy. If like mentally, I think as a business person, no, seriously, I don't know how I could have done this 10 years without you. Like, I think it's hard to go at it alone. So all you solopreneurs out there, congrats on the challenge, and I'm not worthy to be in your presence, probably.
You don't know how you do it. Yep.
Kenji had a party every year. Acuity had a party every year, that I can remember, but dating up to that, where they had the Friends of Acuity party at this fun speakeasy called the Fred.
Kind of surprising, Kenji throwing a party. That seems odd.
Yeah, so it's really. It was a speakeasy, and it was downstairs from the Taco Mac, which is an old Acuity client, and named after the manager there, Fred, who Kenji had known previously. And I don't think Fred was even there at Taco Mac even there when I was there. But as I like to tell people, Kenji got really drunk. It's like, hey man, come take over the world. And I said, don't joke with me about that. And then we put the deal together. Later, like the next week, we put the deal together and thought about it for a month, and we both still wanted to do it. And the rest is history, man.
Rest is history. There we did it. And
Yeah.
we talked about some of it before, like how we got together. And again, the thing that's interesting was we were good friends. We've been kind of partners helping each other out. Like we tried to refer work together to each other. But also too, we were quick. We tend to be that way, making even big decisions. We're kind of go with gut feel on things. We've always been that way. We're always a little unusual that way. We tend to also go real simple. Like we did a lot of the design of how we wanted to structure it ourselves and kind of made attorneys come in afterward. Actually, one attorney, which is weird. So we kind of, Matthew's got a good head for deals and things like that. So we kind of knew what we wanted to accomplish, and we kind of made the attorneys just kind of like, just pencil this up for us the way we want it.
Just document this
just document.
conversation we had. Yeah.
Let's go. And then we kind of just got after it. So we jumped in. So, okay. Let's get into the parts. Like, look back. Now you got to look back 10 years and go, oh my God. I'll see if I can find that picture later. You look back at how much younger we look. Sad. It's sad.
Dude, we weren't even 40 yet.
I know. No, I know it. We were youngins. We were in our 30s.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. But so what parts do you look back and you're like, what? Like, we're only like, if looking back, like, you're like, we only got this far. Like, we're only here. That kind of sucks. Like, where you envision, like, oh, I thought for sure we'd be like way past that, whether it's in the business or, things we're doing.
I mean, when you're like, just like the holy crap moments, I mean, the first week I was there was my holy crap moment. And there's still this sheet of paper that Kelly has. Like I would track our weekly billings.
Yeah.
And it was single digit thousands. I mean, we had 10 employees, dude.
Yeah.
We had single digit thousands billings when I started. I mean, Kenji had let this thing go off the rails.
It was dying. It was heading down.
So
I had big ideas and big dreams, but the things that were actually were supposed to be happening in the meantime were not working.
So if anybody wants to do that, just take $9,000 and multiply that by 52. Our run rate was $450,000. This is half of what Acuity had normally been.
Yeah.
By the time I started, because he had been like, oh yeah, we're $1 million revenue company. Don't worry about it. And I had done so much diligence, of course, that I knew that was right. Then the 3 months that I was tailing out at Cherry Beckert, evidently we went from $1 million in revenue to $450,000 in revenue.
Word got out on the street that Matthew was coming, and our value.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Yeah. So
it was rough. It was a rough
start. That was a rough start, dude. Like Kelly still has the piece of paper.
Oh, I know.
Because I would track, because we bill every week. I think people know that.
It was like, one where it was rough because I think the roughest for me on that one was I just felt horrible. I just felt bad. I mean, not that like, oh my gosh, it wasn't, I pulled something over on you. It was like dude, this was only a little bit ago in better shape. And it just goes to show, like, I think it was not intended by any means intended, but it was probably illustrative of like how fragile small firms are and small companies are, like just incredibly fragile. And like, as exciting as it was about you coming, it was like, it just, things got bad in a hurry. Probably a lot of that, I think, was probably me looking back and going, well, I delegated too much to some folks who weren't ready for that. And I always had my head too far in the clouds of like, I'm so excited about the going forward. When you were coming, it was just hands off the wheel too much. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But that said, yeah, just delicate. Like businesses are delicate, especially at that size and phase. Ugh, that stunk. I hated it. I was like, I cannot believe I got him to leave Cherry Beckert and we're in this shape right now. Like this sucks. This is awful.
I have a question. Like, I've thought about this because people have asked me this before and I don't have a good answer. Where did you think we would be 10 years in? Like, was this even on your radar?
No, this is really hard. That's why I was hoping maybe you'd have better perspective. This is hard looking back. It's hard looking back when we're going, I will say that, I'll say very straight up front, like from an income perspective, I think I thought we'd be further along. You just kind of sense, oh, you grow so big, like, oh, we're just raking in money. The good thing about us is, yeah, we've done fine. We're still in our same houses. We're still doing the same things. Like we're kind of really not much has changed about us. And that's kind of us. We love to have fun and go do fun things, but like, we just don't really live a big lifestyle. But I think probably, I had no plans of like, well, when we hit this, we're going to buy a new house or things. Never thought that way. I probably thought we'd be a little further along, especially now that we're here paying for tuition for kids and just life is expensive. But, I am surprised every quarter when like I would be amazed. Like if I were to go back and now when I prepare for our quarterly leadership or sorry, our quarterly company meetings, and I'm pulling together the financials and get ready to talk to the team and talking points. When I look at our revenue mix of where our revenue comes from as a business, how unbelievably different that mix is, right? I mean, we had visions of bookkeeping and kind of becoming a thing. But it was really early. Like it was negligible. It wasn't really anything at that point. And
Right.
it's a huge driver of the business. It's a huge driver. The fact that we have tax sitting on there. So there's a lot of stuff there that I'm really surprised about. Like there were,
Yeah.
this will be a good
I would have
add-on.
lost a bet that we had a tax practice if you
I
told me
would have
10 years.
too. That's probably the one I cannot believe. I can't believe we have. I just can't like you and I were very anti-tax. No offense to our awesome, actually more
I mean,
accolades
we
to our
weren't
awesome.
anti-tax. It's just not we're not anti-tax. We just don't know tax, right? We're like,
Yeah,
that's our specialties.
we've typically done things that we not only knew, like we had hands-on experience doing. Like if somebody, and I think this is very common for accounting firm owners, the work we're doing or you're leading, you've done the work. It's been a long time since I've been a CFO for somebody, but I've done the work. You've done the work. Like, right. I could go in and do bookkeeping. I've done that before. So it's just uncomfortable with like tax. I'm like, I've never even done that. Like I
Yeah.
need TurboTax to do my own back in the days when it was simple. But yeah,
I guess
tax really surprised. I would have lost a bet too. You and I both would have lost a bet on that.
yeah, I guess we should give some people who are first time listeners like context. We went from 10 years ago, we were 10 employees, all in Atlanta, to 150 people now all over the world. 10 years ago, what were we like 850K in revenue? We ended up that first
Yeah,
year.
that first year.
And then we're tracking to closer to 11 million in revenue this year. So, so for context, that's kind of what that looks like. And then
and not only
back
that,
in the day, it was like, what was it like 50-50 CFO revenue and controller revenue, zero for bookkeeping, zero for tax.
So we were truly in the ways that most people define it, we were kind of an advisory only firm. I mean, if you kind of consider controller advisory, which some people can, that was it. We were basically just doing that. We were going to be a very boutique just for startups, which we still serve a lot of startups, only strategic work. We wanted just to only, I used to use the word boutique all the time. So I thought it sounded cool. What a dumb idea. But like, wanted to be like, oh no, we don't do that low level transactional stuff. Right. So until a few clients kind of asked about it, and then we saw the cloud accounting stuff kind of go. And then you and I got really excited talking about it. Like we were like, man, wait a minute. And I think the thing that gave us energy, one of the things was, oh, if we can get this going, you start solving a lot of challenges around like accounts receivable, these huge big swings of like project-based revenue. That can get really exhausting. Like I think that was, I was at a point too, by myself is very difficult for me. You and I, we've learned that about ourselves. Not all people, and firm owners that way. I was lonely, I needed help. And then it just was exhausting. Like I kept thinking, man, if I've got to keep doing CFO hours, I'd worked in public accounting, so had you. The tech company I worked for after public, it was a technology consulting firm. It was still slinging hours and big projects and all that stuff of timesheets. And I couldn't see myself right around that 8-year mark going forward. I'm like, I can't keep doing that. I cannot keep doing it. Like I couldn't see myself another 10 years. Like now, like I tell you, what I'm glad we're not doing is I couldn't be a billable, fractional CFO right now. And not that it's not great work. It's great work. It's helpful, but it just wasn't right for me anymore. It'd been too long. Like I'd just been doing that over and over, and it just wasn't exciting to me. So I don't know. I think that's probably one thing that I've looked back at and realized that I am, man, boy, my accounting skills have degraded, but
Well,
my energy for entrepreneurship and business building is way higher.
this means also it's your 10-year anniversary of not doing client work.
Mm-hmm. I guess that's true. Yeah.
So you haven't done client work for a decade.
Yeah. I have not. And there have been times I've missed it a little bit, but not that much. I like the immediacy of it. I love helping people. I was very good client facing. My work product was fine. I mean, we don't have a super technical work product anyway. So I could get through with that. But I was good. I knew I was very competent at, I could service clients. I could keep them happy. I was good at that, but it was exhausting. It
Yeah.
really wore me out. Like I think I took it really seriously. And if a client called, I was on the spot. I couldn't not say no to things. I was on it. And so it wore me out.
So, what would you say to answer your question about, like, if you look back, like, what was the hard thing, or the weird
Um,
year, or the thing you didn't expect, or whatever?
yeah, I think it's the hardest thing. Like if I'm trying to tell someone to get ready over these next few years, um, I think the hard times come like right on the backside of what seemed like just these huge big wins and successes, right? Like, oh, you hit 50 people. And I think we were just stoked to be at that size. Like, I can't believe we're 50. We're going, and we weren't, I didn't feel like I was paying attention to what the infrastructure should look like. Like we've probably been in the last 5 years heavy building up the infrastructure because we were super light to begin with. We started off the other way around. Like we were
Mm-hmm.
really lean. And so that was like, oh, we were way behind on building out teams and infrastructure after we kind of grown so much. I was like, oh, that was hard. I think on some of our growth strategies, when we got things working in the sales side, yes, we're killing it. We got, I mean, so much. It was really fun when you and I were building up the sales team and all that and experimenting. That was a lot of fun. Like it's just interesting, and the growth hacking days. And then, we had probably our darkest period after that of like where we just so excited about the growth that we took our eye off the ball on, on retention and profitability and cash flow. We're like, what? And we just missed that, right?
Yeah.
That was hard. So it just kind of has that like
Seesaw.
seesaw. Whereas the first 10 years for me, or 8 years, felt more like a slow, steady grind. Like you just grind, 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 grind. This one's had moments of like, whoa, super excitement. And then like, whoops, yikes. We had some surprises. So I think that ego and hubris has to be kind of put in check. To me, every time I've got a little cocky with like, oh, aren't we great? There's been some kind of like gut punch of like, dude.
A reminder that we're human.
Yeah, that we're human. And I think that happens now. I tell you, I feel that now is where you're capitalizing this business, right? It's hard at this size, right? Banks aren't very good at lending. We're stingy on equity. Like we'll put money in to put forward, but like it's hard. It gets hard to capitalize it here. We're not looking to bring on other partners like the old model of like lots of other partners and you got to pay in and buy in and keep kind of recapping like that. So that's hard. I mean, that gets hard too, but those are the hard things, but all those have been like growth related to hard things, right? For me.
Right.
And then the other ones have been, looking back, like when you came on board, absolutely knew every team member well, and you absolutely knew the clients pretty well too. And I've kind of got at peace with that, but like that was a weird feeling of like, oh,
Yeah.
don't have that because you and I are super relational. Like we like being around people. So
I like knowing people. I like knowing
I do
employees.
too.
I like knowing our clients. I like that. And when I don't,
So we've
it's
got,
harder.
but it's that yeah, that's tough. That was tough. So those are some of the tougher things. Like knowing, I do like knowing that we're helping more clients. We're having a bigger impact. It's just a little hard though when you don't feel that personal connection nearly as much as you used to. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. I mean, do you miss serving clients at all? Because yours has only been the past few years.
Well,
Past few.
I kind of get like just how we split it up, and just also our background. Like I still get pulled back in for the real technical accounting stuff.
That's true. That's true. You're closer.
So I still get to geek out when, one of the teammates is going through an audit, or somebody needs to deal with an auditor or something like that. I'm still the go-to for some of that stuff, and also some of the crypto stuff. So, because AJ will bounce something off me, or, whatever, so I still get to see live stuff. I still do CFO office hours too.
That's true. Yeah.
So I still get to talk to clients in that respect. And then in this new kind of world with the SaaS team lead. I'm having to get out and talk to clients more. And um, so that's kind of that's different, I think. I still get at least enough to where I can be dangerous in that regard.
You know, you dress a lot more casually 10 years later than you used to.
I dress a ton more casually. Do you know I had to like because of we had the bill.com advisory council and then the zero thing this week.
Yeah.
4 days this week I wore a collar.
Or collar. Yeah, that's
I wore it today too. I'm 5 for 5. I wore a collar every day this week. Can you believe that?
one day we were playing golf, however. Yes, but although yes, otherwise you're right. That is weird. Like that's different.
That is different because it used to be I would wear a button up. I love wearing a button up long sleeve shirt
Yeah.
with slacks.
So you
I do you know how many pairs of khaki pants I have?
how many?
One.
One.
Everything else is jeans.
Yeah.
Like I don't even know. Like I was like when I was going to the Bill.com thing, I was like, oh shit, I gotta go get some khaki pants. Like I almost went to Target to get khaki pants, which is
Yeah.
probably the wrong thing to do, but that's my
What was
go-to
that?
store now. Like half my wardrobe comes from Target now.
Yeah. Like as I think about like things I'm surprised about, like what are we positive surprises? There are a lot of them. There's almost so many of them, and maybe that's I have a little bit of a hard time imagining too far in the future. Like 10 years is a long time to imagine. Like that's like a lifetime in some ways. So, because I'm like, oh, like the Philippines, like what? You know,
Oh yeah. If
do
we
we
had,
work? That we
what
work?
are the? That's a good question. Like, what are the things today? Like, if we had told ourselves when we started this, we would be like, "You're crazy."
You are crazy.
Because would it be like 150 people, St. Lucia, Philippines?
I think the people side,
Like,
I'd have been like, okay, I'm surprised by that. I think things like team members, that a third of our team are international in either St. Lucia or in the Philippines. I'd have been like, what are you talking about? That would have been like mind blowing. That was
because I mean, I know we were virtual, but 10 years ago, but we were 100% Atlanta employees.
100%.
And
100%.
people came into the office like
Yeah, we were in
once
there
a
pretty
month, right?
frequently. Yeah, we were in. Yeah, people came in once a month, or we were a little ahead of the curve on most of that. But so we're probably less surprised about working from home and this hybrid thing than most other people are, just because we were kind of even doing it back then. But yeah, that's that. I mean, tax, the one you mentioned earlier, no idea.
I would have lost a bet on that for sure.
So an acquisition and a merger. Does that seem out of character? Or you're like, oh no,
No,
yeah,
for sure we were
I
going to
was
do
gonna
that.
say you were gonna make
We
that
were going to
happen.
try that at some point.
I
Like
knew it.
try acquisition, we were going to try merger, we were going to try all
Yeah,
that stuff. Like yeah, that
yeah.
was that was not a that one doesn't surprise me at all.
That one does not. Yeah, that knowing you, that does not surprise me either. Um,
Oh,
what?
taking equity in clients.
Oh
I, I
yeah,
I'm not sure if I would have believed
we had done it
that's not out
before.
of character, but that was kind of like it
We
took one of the PE guys going like, "Hey, you guys should really think about this to really think about it."
we'd done it. Stuart and I had done it one time before, and it obviously didn't work out very well. It was not a good situation. The client was struggling. We had it. It was almost like, fine, for a huge discount in our fees, we'll take equity, right? It was almost like a management buyout situation. It was not pretty. It didn't pan out. I'd always wanted to, but I was starting to lose some hope that was ever going to happen. So I think that makes me really happy seeing that, because I actually, it wasn't like I wasn't expecting it. I just wasn't sure it was ever going to work out. Now, to
Yeah.
be fair, we haven't had, I mean, we had a
It
couple.
hasn't been a lot.
Yeah,
That's like,
exactly.
we'll tell you in 10 years if that worked out.
If that works out, right? Okay, cool. We got on the cap table. We had another 10 years to find out if that works out. That's one I would not have. Yeah.
I wouldn't have been surprised, I guess, but like
Yeah.
that wasn't intuitive
No.
out of the gate.
I think the other one, I mean, I think also how closely we're working with some of the, I mean, you mentioned about being at Bill.com's advisory board. Like that wasn't on
I wouldn't believe like Expensify, Intuit, Zero, Bill.com, like all these companies would care about what we thought.
I that is unbelievable to me. I mean, not on my radar any way, shape, or form back then. Like, in fact, I kind of shunned the industry. I did. I was like, I was so annoyed with what CPE looked like back then and going to conferences. And again, the 2015 ZeroCon, so that would have been a year into when we were together, was a completely random, like, I went, needed some CPE. It was out by my mom and dad's in Colorado. Sure, I'll pop in there. We're kind of using that. And next thing you know, I'm like, wait a second here. Something's happening here. And Zero always did it well, but like something was going on. Like something's different about this place of where there's some interesting other accounting firms and like, oh, there's some other technology that's like, that was very different. You think about now how important that is to us as an organization, all those partnerships.
Yeah, that was an important, I think you doing that inspired me to do that the next year. And then we started like really getting into the ecosystem and really get like, that's a huge turning point probably, because
It was
that brings energy, right?
That's I was going to say that exact thing. It brings energy. It brings so much the joy in, because energy and
Oh,
excitement.
it brought us a business partner. Like if you think about
business part, I talked about that at the Zero Roadshow yesterday about that Zero helped us find a business partner, right? When Patty and Scott and the whole team and Catching Clouds merged with us, that was formed around that community. And then beyond that, I mean, the amount of friendships we have, like deep, like real. Like, hey, not just I know someone as a business partner and let me refer you. Like, these are really, really good friends of ours, like who, came about within this space, which I was like, wait, who are these? I can't imagine. Like now, every city you and I travel to, we're always looking for like, oh yeah, let's go see so and so while we're here. Like, right?
Well, those are my closest friends now.
Those are some of our absolute best friends.
So once you get outside of the Falcons crew, like for me, you get like
it's the accounting community.
You get like BG, the Falcons crew, and then it goes to like the accounting crew. Like I'm just saying, like
people, yeah. Just
those
never,
are people.
that was never on the radar. The only thing I knew then was like, oh, we got to use some of these technology components. We'll use them as best as we can. And otherwise for like CPE and stuff, we're going to the Georgia Society of CPAs. And it was just like, you just sit there and torturously go through those things. And it's like, this is just terrible. And now, I mean, we look forward to it. I'm getting on a plane in a couple of days to head out and do one of these. And I can't wait to see everybody and to actually hear what's kind of coming through. That was unexpected, very unexpected.
Oh man. And we're just tip of the iceberg. It was like at the Bill thing. I was telling you about meeting Jody the other day, and he's just
Grundon,
like a breath of fresh air in the industry. Like, oh my God, like some of these people like push us and challenge us and doing shit so much better than us. It's like fun. It's fun to see,
It is fun. It is fun. I feel like a broken record when I go and speak at these conference. Best was my final thing I said to everyone on yesterday. I was like, I hope this is helpful, but like, just so you know, like there's a much bigger community than just this. Like there are people you've got people out there. There are people out there who will happily help you. Accountants are friendly and they're really helpful to each other. And that's been awesome. That's probably, to your point, like I'm not sure anything has given me or us more energy than that's. And then also, I mean, and our great team members at Acuity, like you look around and we go on our offsites, especially our Acuity con. I mean, having our own conference.
Oh yeah, I would have lost a bet on that one too.
Absolutely. That was nowhere near.
Nowhere on our radar.
I thought you were the one who was pushing it. I thought you were insane.
Yeah, I was probably. The I don't remember that being my idea. That's funny. But that's I'll take credit for it.
I do.
Yeah, I would have lost a bet if you thought that I would got more inspiration from the accounting community than the Atlanta tech ecosystem. But totally.
Oh yeah. I remember initially when you were really embedded in the Atlanta tech ecosystem, and it's a great ecosystem. It really is. It's kind of nice to pop back into it on occasion.
Oh, you're like, I mean, just think of who was sitting next to us, like Kyle Tope.
It's amazing. Unicorn
all
companies.
These, the freaking unicorns now, Greenlight. Like
all
you're like
all
these, all of our friends, like
Great
that have built
people.
unicorns, those are kind of humbling. But like where I get inspiration is more from our
Yeah,
friends,
they're the
you know.
folks who know us and who kind of think like-minded with us. So that's been a lot of fun. I mean, there's a lot of good things when you look back at it. It's just a fun retrospective. And since I thought of this topic because even though it was actually 2 months ago, we always celebrate this just for people listening. We like to celebrate milestones, and a big milestone we celebrate is anniversaries, and we do it every company meeting. And so Matthew is the one who had the 10-year anniversary, which is pretty cool. We do some fun things, kind of
June
behind the
1st
scenes.
every year. You think about it.
We do some fun things
Oh,
kind of behind the scenes stuff.
The funny thing was, do you remember? Like I would do, so because I'd buy the business, right? So Kenji would get a check from me once a year,
I did.
for the first 5 years. So I would just pay him interest on the check because I had to pay him interest and I pay his partner that we were
Work
buying
this
out.
whole
I was
structure
paying
out.
that note off, but Kenji got this like interest check for me every year. He was like, this is so random. It's like
And
happy
it's
anniversary.
so funny because this is just very us is like I'd always forget. Like I just like, oh, whatever. And he'd come in always on you were like June 1st, you brought that check for the interest payment. I'm like, oh yeah, I kind of like it was always like yeah, you were clockwork, wouldn't missed it like that. And I was always like, oh yeah, I forgot about this thing because yeah, it just was an interesting component. But that was a big milestone too. And we got through that. I know we celebrated on like getting through that. Like, oh my gosh, you're fully in. Like, let's get on even Steven par here. The fact that we're now like great. That was a big deal. But
That was a cool, like I got when I paid you off, that was fine. But like when I paid Stuart off, that was a big deal to me.
that was a big deal. That was a big deal. I
It was
mean,
probably a big deal to you too, since you guaranteed it.
yeah. Well, yeah, but also like I just don't like you and I always worked as equals, and I know you didn't like it, especially financially. I mean, you understood it obviously, but like I was excited for when like we could truly, I could look at you and feel like, okay, we're in the exact same financial position.
Yeah.
I don't, you and I never like when you and I hate lack of alignment. Like we despise lack of alignment. And so even though we were incredibly aligned elsewhere, it's just the nature of the transaction. We had to do that, but that was fun when you got there. I was like, yeah, okay, let's go. Lots of stuff, man. 10 years.
LFG, baby. Let's go.
LFG, let's go. Well, okay. Maybe let's go. Before we go, let's do some rating here. But dude, let me try one more time. I want to see one more time if we can see the two
Why
youngins.
you can't work Zoom?
I don't know, dude. He kind of wants to bounce and show like some other screen, and it's just not.
It's just showing a blank screen to me. As Kenji Kuramoto has started screen sharing.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Is this user error?
I
Like, you
had
know,
some
they
weird
share
update.
screens, right?
I'm gonna call it a Zoom error. I've got some weird client update thing. Who knows? But anyway,
Okay.
well, let's rate beers. This probably isn't going to pull up either. I'll try to. I'm sure it's probably not going to pull up. We'll try. We'll see if it does anything.
Well, nobody watches the YouTube anyway. I'm pretty sure. Like everybody just
I like
everybody's
watching
moved
this.
this. Everybody's that worked.
Oh,
I
that
can
one
see it.
works. Oh wait,
Yeah.
let's try this.
Oh, dude. Oh my God.
Look at that.
Yeah, that was 10 years of haircut. Look how skinny I am.
We're so young. 10 years ago.
Oh my
I looked
gosh.
that up. That was Arizona Cardinals were here playing us. We crushed them. Maddie was, I think, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Julio, of course, had 10 receptions. Can you name our running back?
Michael Turner back then?
No, he was a one and done. 1 year we picked him up out of the Rams.
Oh, Todd Gurley? Who?
Before that. I thought it was Graham.
like,
Steven Jackson. Remember that?
oh, that was the Steven Jackson. I was like, Todd Gurley's way too soon.
Yeah, Steven Jackson. Oh, wow. Huh?
Oh,
Yeah.
I forgot.
I looked back and I saw that. I'm like, that's what game that was. Yeah, we won it by like 28-18 or something. Nice.
That's like a cheesy smile for you. You're normally better smile than that. So.
I know. I've gotten better. I got better at my smiling. Okay, I'm going to rank this one. This is the Garden Beer.
I look 10 pounds lighter in that thing. I'm going to go see if I can get back down to 180 like that. 190.
Oh. Motivation. Yeah, I'm going to give this guy, I wasn't that crazy about it. 3.25. Like I don't taste all this other stuff they put on here. That's like gimmick, like cucumber and toasted whatever. I taste none of that stuff. 3.2. I'd probably get ready to get too high at 3.25. But
Very, very
it's fine.
disappointing.
We like the thing there. So you are the,
Salted caramel porter.
of course, everyone's got one of these, unfortunately.
This one's from
Anderson, I see it.
Anderson Valley. I'm gonna go a straight 3-0. Like I just not. I don't like the bourbon barrel stuff typically, but like I usually like a porter more. So
Yeah. Just
a
let
little,
the porter shine through and like don't get all fancy. Don't add all the other stuff. Is that what you're saying?
you can put the caramel in there, but like the bourbon barrel on top of the caramel. Like I like one or the other. Like
Okay.
do the bourbon barrel or do the caramel, but don't do both.
Does it feel like when you're doing that too, they're hiding something like, okay, you're doing too much. Like just you're getting too.
It's like kitchen sink. The bourbon barrel didn't work, so we threw caramel in. Like I don't know.
That makes
Like
sense.
I don't know. Who knows?
Makes sense. Well, all right, 10 years from now, we'll come back.
Here's to another 10 years, dude.
Another
Like
10
this
years.
is I'm cheering to you with like an
I got the
like,
exact same amount. You ready? Cheers, dude. Love you.
love you, man. So
10 more years. And hey, everybody out there, we love you guys too. Give us some other topics. Come on, send us some beer. And we'll see you next time here on Drink What You Think.